Welcome guys, it's your boy JT, and in today's video we've gotten a pretty exciting topic. It's something I've been waiting to be able to do. We had to kind of get past, introducing you to the actual Davinci Resolve software, right? Now we're getting ready to take another step. The color page. It can be overwhelming to sit down and look at everything that you can possibly do and see all these different things that you want to do and not even really know how to open the software or set up a project or just produce anything. So now that we've gotten past that part, we've gotten past how to open the software, how to do some simple basic effects, some basically foundational type effects. We've shown you how to add text. We've shown you how to sync music. We've also shown you how to go in and make some slight modifications to your footage, whether it's out of a pro camera, whether it's footage from your cell phone, whether it's footage that you've just had lodged or stored somewhere for the longest. Now you can be able to go in and create your own video presentations using the footage that you have. And so, the Davinci Resolve color page is so powerful, it's unreal. For a lot of people, it's actually the first or main draw into video editing. When people see that color page, they see those scopes and they see all of the different levels and the different tools that you can be able to use. That's when they begin to get excited. A lot of people have made the switch from other major platforms to come to this super major platform. I mean, it's what they use to make movies, and I'm going to say, aside from Fusion becoming more of my favorite because I'm no longer intimidated by it, the color page it's a staple with every single project that I do. The color page is a staple. This is where you're able to go in and you're able to really create those looks that you want for your videos. Your videos that you shoot, that's one thing, but how you color grade your videos, a lot of the different visual effects that you have for your videos all come from the color page. You've got your masking, you've got your tracking. You're able to go in and create alpha output images that allow you to either, use them to superimpose or composite other images or just create to your overall video creativity. It's a huge plus, I'm going to say. And the crazy thing is that it's all free. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a beginner, everything that you have in the free version is all you're going to need for a while. Allow yourself to grow and develop in this game and become more and more comfortable with doing the small things. Once you do that, you'll be ready to go. So with no further ado, we're going to jump over here in this color page. Now, you already know what it is now. Now, let's do this. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the user interface for the color page. All right. So let me see. Let's pick a clip. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you is this. All images are not created equal. I don't care what anybody says. You've got your 10-bit images, you've got your 12-bit images, you've got your 8-bit images. The biggest difference is the amount of information that you're able to actually keep as you're making adjustments, because the lower the bit rate of an image, the fewer the adjustments you can make without actually destroying your image, because it just doesn't have enough area or room for you to be able to push and pull the looks that you want. So I'm going to show you an example of one of those. See, this right here is shot on an 8-bit Canon, which is actually what I'm using to film this video content with right now, because it's just for the purpose of instruction. All right. So now But then you have, we'll say this image right here, which is a 10-bit image. One of the things about this image is only an 8-bit, and there is no color profile to it, no log profile. It's the image that you get out of camera. So how your image ends up looking is all done right there on the spot. You know, it's going to be a very saturated image. It's going to have a lot of contrast in it in comparison to what you get when you're shooting on a flat logarithmic image. So what that means is that in post, there really won't be a lot of room for you to do a lot of different things before you begin to destroy the integrity of the image, because there's just not enough information. It's kind of like back in the day on the computers where you had to go in and you display, and you can either choose the 256 colors or the 1084 colors, I think. With the one that has the more colors, you can see the gradual change in the color information of the image. But the one that was 256, it was this color, this color, this color, this color, and all the way down. But what happens is there's not a lot of room for you to be able to push and pull the different components of your image in terms of color, in terms of contrast, in terms of exposure, up plus or minus. And so you begin to lose what you can do. But in a 10-bit image, you have a whole lot more room to play. I'm going to say in an 8-bit image, especially one like this that is just going to shoot like in a standard color profile, when you look at the shadows, if your shadows and your exposure is not almost perfect, you know, during your shoot, there's not going to be a lot of things you can do. Well, why? Because it just doesn't have a lot of information. Now, when it comes to a 10-bit image, that's, you know, where you can be able to shoot, say like in a log format, like a flat format, then you're going to have a lot of room, a lot more room than you would have in like a regular 8-bit image. So that's going to be the basis. That's what I want you to understand, okay? 1 second. Okay, so all I'm gonna do here now, I'm gonna delete this one. I'm not gonna mess around with that. Delete this one. Let's see here. Let's get us a nice clean image that we can just kind of get a little work with. This one right here. Let's see. Come up to about right there. We'll save it about right there. Now, if you look, let me make sure that it's visible. Okay, good. I can see the color page on the bottom because sometimes it's just not visible. So you've got your media page, you've got a cut page, and you've got your edit page, which is what we're on now. And then we have the fusion page, then we have the color page. This is Fairlight, this is our audio page, and then this is the delivery page. So now I'm going to click on the color page. It's going to open us up into a whole beautiful world, all right? Now, we're not going to do a lot of editing. We're not going to do any big heavy color grades or anything like that. What I want to do is show you how to navigate the actual color page within Davinci Resolve, all right? I'm going to start over here, but let me turn my scopes on. Well, not my scopes. Let me turn my color wheels on. All right, these are my primary wheels, okay? This is where a lot of the pushing and pulling happens, but we're gonna start over here. So right here is a gallery page, okay? Let me come here, and these are some that I've actually already kind of gone through to look and see, but we've got our stills. Whenever you're actually, I'm gonna go ahead and delete these. That way we won't see anything there, okay? We'll start from scratch is what we're gonna do. So now, whenever you begin to use your color page, you have your gallery area here. This is what your gallery is right here. There are no stills created, but let's say we do a full color grade one time. You can actually save that color grade, and then you can apply that color grade with all the nodes intact for another image or all of your other images. it also serves as a good way for you to be able to have a base grade for everything. That being the case, here's another area over here. It's called the power grade. Now, with the power grade, you're actually able to just almost like kind of build templates for how you want to start your project. See, me, I have templates built for like different cameras. Like if I'm shooting on my Canon, I've got a base grade that I do for it, because you can't do the same grade that you would do on like a 10-bit, film camera on an 8-bit little Canon content type camera. It's just not going to work. But you can start out with a base grade, and you can do that right here. We're going to do that, and we'll probably do another video. I just want to be able to let you know that that's what it is. Like, for example, I'll come here just real quick. Here's a deal, blah, blah, blah. We'll say on this deal, we're just going to put a LUT right there. And let's just say this is my current deal, right? So now I'm going to turn the LUTs back off. Now, every time you hit one of these, then it'll change up over here. So we've got gallery. I'm going to do this is for power grade. I'm going to do a right click, grab still. When I do that, it's going to put that right there, right? So now let's delete all of this. Okay. Now, when I come over here, this is in my power grade section. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab this clip right here. Okay. Now we'll go back into my color page. Now, let me hit clips. This is what allows me to see my actual clips. All right, I had that turned off from earlier work just to maximize my screen out. But so right here we have this one clip. I can hover over this power grade that I've already made in a whole nother project, because your power grades will always stay there regardless of what project you're working on. Your power grades will appear right here. So now that's right here. Now I can come over here, and when I hover my mouse over that grade, you see, I get a chance to kind of get a preview of what that clip would look like with that particular grade. If I want to use it, right click, apply grade. Bam, color grade done. Now, let's see here. This is the before, this is the after. I mean, that's not a grade, but that's just to show you the power of the power grade. Now, for right here, when I'm working on a local project or a project that is the current project, if I were to come right here and go grab still, it'll put those stills in there, okay? But it wouldn't put it inside the power grade, all right? Now, you can do those interchangeably, but if I close this project out and go to another project, this particular grade is not going to be saved for that new project. But if I do a power grade, it will be. All right. So that's enough on that. I'm gonna go ahead and delete, but I'm not gonna delete it. I'll leave it there. Now, over here, you've got your LUTs. Okay. You can turn your gallery on and off. Okay. When you turn it off, you'll get more real estate. You can turn your clips on and off. That also gives you more real estate, basically more screen to be able to use. And I'm just going to kind of go ahead and run through this page. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go in and practice. I want you to go in, try to do some things, move some things around, see how things work for you, okay? Give me 1 second, all right? Just had to make sure I was on the right screen where you can be able to see everything. Okay, now, so I'm going to turn the gallery back on, and then here's the LUT screen that takes the place of the gallery, and then you can see all of your film, you can see all of your LUTs and stuff over here. Now, you can load LUTs, you can buy LUTs, you can create your own LUTs, you can go in and create new stills and create LUTs from those as well. But like I've got several different ones. I'm not a real big LUT guy. I do like the Buttery Master Collection. I'll have to see if I can get a link to those so you can be able to check them out. But most of these come built into Davinci Resolve for free. Like if you got your film looks, like right here, you can hover your mouse over the different LUTs to kind of see what kind of look you want to start off with. That's how your LUTs work. Okay, now I'm gonna turn that back off, turn my gallery on. Now look, you see here's your media pool. You can also access your media pool from within the color page. So if I wanted to look at something else, I could be able to do that as well. Now, I can come in here and I can drag one in, or I can just kind of use it as a reference. But these are your different files that you'll have in your media pool that also comes from your media page. All right, now you can turn your clips on and off. If you're, let's say you're just working on one, or you only want to work on one, you just want to use as much of your screen as possible, that's where you would do that at. Now, right here, you can come in, you can go into your bin list. You can turn that column off, or you can leave it on. I typically leave that off. I don't want to see all of that because I want to see as much screen as possible, especially if I'm working on this laptop just doing some random coloring or whatever. So I usually keep that turned off, and I'll have my gallery on here, which shows me my stills, my power grades, and my timelines. Now, here's our media pool, here's our clips. So far, we've got our gallery, we can turn that on and off. We've got our LUTs, we can turn that on and off. We've got our media pool that will show us all the media that we have in our project from our media page, however it's organized. All right, now, put this back on. Okay, that. And we're showing our clips. All right, now, this right here is pretty much the time. You can make the adjustment here. You can disable all proxies. You can prefer certain proxies. That's another lesson, another day, not this one. I'm just kind of taking you through the interface. This is where you can be able to turn on your color grades or your fusion effects. So if you, like right now, how we're on this. Now, a lot of time these color grades, they'll be, computer usage heavy. And so sometimes you might just want to turn it off so that it helps the processor to be able to process without having to give you the actual previews during the process. So you can turn that off and continue to work. And it's just going to show you your work without actually showing you the preview. So you can turn that back on. This right here is how you can be able to maximize your viewer, but you can also hit the P on your keyboard and go to full screen view. Now, this is your node area. You see this right here? This is how you can be able to select. This right here is how you're able to move your node timeline around. All right. Now, you've got your timeline, which you can be able to show based on where you are in your timeline. So right now, as you can see, that's where my playhead is in my timeline, and then it also shows you that here. So I typically never turn that on. But my nodes, the only time I'm going to turn my nodes off is when I want to watch this in full preview. Okay, if I'm trying to watch my media so I can be able to pull out certain points or whatever in the video, that's when I'm going to turn on and turn off my nodes. I'm going to leave that there. Then you've got your effects. Now, we put a LUT on that. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another node. And this node is right here. So I'm just going to come over here. I'll show you how the effects work. You come over here to your effects. You can do different things. I'm going to add a Gaussian blur here. All right. You see how I just made some blur? I can either take all the strength out or I can take it all in. So that's how you would do that. Now, let me delete that because I don't really want that. But we'll go through and do a couple of these. You've got some different things that you can do. I use the color space transform a lot because I am converting different footages into different color spaces for different reasons. You even got the camera shake, film damage. I'm going to say another one that I use a good bit if I just want to use it would be the vignette. So like I've got a vignette here. You see that happens. So you just drop it onto the node. And then, let me spread it out a little bit. This is when I really, really want to kind of hone in the focus. And it's more of a polished, finished look. Let's see here. Go do that. And what that does is it kind of helps you to force the viewer to just kind of, focus in on the subject, because you can also move it around as well. There's not a lot of effects that I actually do in the color page anymore, because now I'm typically trying to do most of my visual effects using Fusion. And for all of you Adobe Premiere guys, they use After Effects. We use Fusion. Fusion is this particular tab right here. All right. Now, let's see. I didn't bring in any like action deals. Otherwise, I would. Well, I'm gonna show you anyway. So, like, let me add a note. All right. Now, actually, right here, this would be a good one for me to be able to show you, or be able to go and introduce to you. Let me take this out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for the most part, this is what it is when it comes to the effects. Now, if you are on a node where you've applied an effect, that effect is going to appear here. But if I come here, I haven't applied an effect on it. So that's how you can get your effects deal back. If I want to take that out, I can do a right click and I can go to reset node, or I can use any one of these other ones. Look, when you get the software, it's free. Open it up. You can't break it. I promise you. If at the absolute very least of what you would have to do would be to completely reinstall the software, you still can't break it. I mean, that's just it. Try some of these things. You can also add nodes. You can add, there's multiple different types of nodes, and there's multiple ways that you can use these nodes. This is not the video for that. I will be doing a node video, so that way you can be able to become familiar with all these different types of nodes and what they mean and how you can use them in your projects. I just want to get you to a place where you can open this software and you can begin to use it. That's what we're here for today. So, like I said, a lot of these are different effects. We just kind of look at some of them. You can keep, let me see here. Now, I know in Fusion, even on the timeline, some of these effects, when you put your mouse over them, you can be able to see them, but some of these you just can't. And some of these you have to use in tandem, say with your power window. So I just want you to be able to see some of these different nodes and effects that you can be able to have. So you've got, let me see, come here, right? We say add node. You've got a corrector node, you've got a parallel mixer, a layer mixer, a key mixer, a splitter, a combiner, and then of course you also have your alpha output, and then you have your regular serial node. Now you see right now, I'm still able to just kind of walk around this thing. I'm able to, every time I get into an open space, my mouse will just move this around. But if I come here, it won't work like that. When I get to an open space, I have to do something different. So the way you would move this around if you're not on the hand would just be to use your middle mouse button and just pan around that way, okay? Now, let's come down here. We've got our clips. You click on the clip, that clip becomes active. Okay, that's how that works. You click on the clip, that clip becomes active. Let's do this. I've got my gallery. I'm going to go to stills. Okay, we already have a still right here. I want to use this still to color grade this footage right here. So let's see. There we go. And you can even see the difference in the way that this was shot. Just you can see the color. When I look at this, watch this. When I look at this, without looking over here at my scopes, I'm going to tell you what I see. I see a hint of green that's kind of overtaking this, and that's probably because of this big green couch coming on the wall. Light, color, all of those things. They move. They work like water. Whatever your space is, whatever the shape of your space is, that's how it works. And so the green from this couch is bouncing in different areas of the room. Okay, so there's a greenish tone. There's also, I can look here and see that there's a hint of blue, and I can even show you how if you add some red, that image will begin to change. All right, you see that? So anyway, let me hit the reset on that. Let's just kind of go through some of these. All right, this is how you access the actual raw footage. Okay, this first icon right here. All right, it says we've got clip. Okay, if you go to clip, now you'll be able to see the different parameters of your actual footage. So this was shot at 800. All right, as a matter of fact, wait, but let me come here and do a reset on this. All right, I just did a right click and reset node so that there's no LUTs or anything on it. But this right here is how this footage was shot. It's shot in a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 6K using the film Gamma. And this is as shot, Blackmagic design, shot at an ISO of 800. All right, you can even adjust your color temperature here, so that you can be able to see if you want to match a different color temperature. Let me see, 3300. See, it was shot at 5600. That's what we're going to keep it. but you can make the adjustments to the actual raw file. So it's like you're still in the presence of your camera, and you can actually go in and make these adjustments to that actual footage, just like that, like the actual raw data. Before you do any grading, before you do any kind of edits or modifications to it, you can actually grab a hold of your actual clip, and it is as if you are reshooting that clip. So the Blackmagic, it has a dual native ISO, one at 800, and also the other is at 3200. So if you're at 800, the highest you'll be able to increase your ISO for that particular image is to 1000. But if this was shot at 3200, then you'd be able to go much higher than that and still be able to keep, a pretty decent amount of image quality that you actually intended. So again, that's a whole nother lesson. So we just want to kind of get you familiar with this interface. I'm going to put this back on Blackmagic Raw default, just because. But this right here is a deal. I actually have one of these. This is another one of those, one of those things you see that they say, oh, you need to have. I bought it 6 years ago, never used it. But anyway, there's a card that you can use as far as for checking your colors and exposure accuracy on set. And you would take that and actually match it up with this right here. And that way, when you get in here to do your edits in Davinci, your colors, your exposure, your white balance, all those things should be perfectly matched with the exact same way that you saw it when you were actually shooting it, okay? Now, we're going to come on over here. This is our primary color wheels, all right? So I'm going to delete these real quick, just so we can be able to make these changes and show you right here using these color wheels. I'm going to get a little more real estate. So let's turn our gallery off, and then we're going to keep our nodes on. I can grab this window edge and give us a little more real estate as well. Okay, you can zoom in using your middle mouse button, unless you go and change it in your keyboard hotkeys. I use my middle mouse button. All right, now these are your primary color wheels. Your offset always does everything like in total. So I'm moving colors around in this mouse wheel right here. You can see the scopes jumping. If I want to give it a little more orangish color, yellow, orange, I move it over there. I don't really want to do that, but I'm just kind of showing that's how it goes. Okay, now I'm over here kind of giving it a bluish. Then I'm coming over kind of giving it a greenish feel, but I don't want any of that. So a lot of times I'll use that to actually manually balance my white balance, but that's not what we're going to do here. I just want to show you what it is. So I just reset that. Now the lift, gamma, and gain, you can consider that as your lows, your mids, and your highs. So now let me change this from parade to waveform. Now I'm looking at my waveform. Okay, this is what you would have seen on camera, or if you had your waveform or your histogram turned on in camera or on your video monitor while you were shooting. This is what you would see. So I can look here and I can see that, hey, I've got a bunched up area right here. So I already know I'm going to have some things that I would need to do as far as pushing and pulling to really expand this image out as far as the detail. Again, this is not a color grading video. This is going to be more of showing you this interface, and we'll definitely have some lessons on being able to do these individual things in the color page. I just want to keep it simple for you, because at this point, there's so many personal preferences, and if you get caught up in everybody else's personal preferences, then it's never really you. Okay, it's what you're doing to mimic what somebody else is doing on the screen. I want you to understand this stuff. I want you to be able to get it in a way that it's going to be functional for you, and so we have to attack that at the foundation. All right, so now these are your primary color wheels. Like right now, we've got our primary color wheels, we've got our log color wheels. The biggest difference between the log and the color wheels is this. So I'm getting ready to, I'm gonna lower my lift, okay? I'm gonna bring it down some. So what's happening is, it's bringing it down based on a curve. That means there's no instant drop. There's no hard edges, kind of say. It's almost like a gradation of change, in the lows. And so then when I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for my highs So I'm going to increase my gain, which is I'm increasing my highs. Okay, you see here's a push and pull right here. You see my lows begin to come back up. So now I've really increased my highs. I'm going to bring my lows. Actually, I'm going to bring my mids up some. Okay, now I'm bringing my mids up some. Now I'm going to bring my lows down even more. All right, you see how that whole push and pull begins to where I'm going to bring my mids up again some more. I'm going to bring these lows back down. Because it's not just a stark, hard line that I'm doing that with, because this is the primary wheel. Now, let's introduce a little bit of contrast, a little bit of detail. And this is all just pure, we're just adjusting the exposure. You don't want to hit this line, you don't want to hit that line. That's it. But now, creatively, you can do what you want to do. I'm looking here now. I want to bump up some of my shadows. I kind of go off the rule of if there's a shadow, I should be able to see what's underneath that shadow. See, in that one clip where it was just me, that thing was so saturated you couldn't see into the shadows. You couldn't see my skin beneath the shadows because the camera just isn't able to catch, or capture at that level of detail. The only way it's going to do that is if I introduce some additional lights to actually bring those areas up. So again, it's not a color grading video nor a lighting video, but I just want you to be able to move around the software. Here's a color boost right here. You've got color boost, you've got shadows, you've got highlights, you've got saturation, you've got hue, and you got lume mix. All right, let's bump up some of this color boost. Just I want you to see. See, as you see that, it's beginning to go over, right? Now, you can also do some saturation, but I use the color boost more because saturation it's just a hard, whatever this color is, we're going to make it deep and rich. And then that begins to kind of pull away from your image. You have to do other things, like the reds are going to be super reds, the greens are going to be strong green. I like to use the color boost because it will do those same things, but more in the way of naturalism. Okay, now here's the deal. My white balance was good, but I'm going to show you if I wanted to cool this image down some, I can add a little blue by adjusting the temperature. Now that's not how I would normally do it. I'm going to use my wheels when I make any kind of changes like that, but I'm just kind of showing you that right there. If you needed to, let's say you really needed to shoot it in 6,000, you can come in here and begin to warm it up by making that adjustment, but it's going to make it up overall. One's going to look like sunlight, the other's going to look like late evening or just a cooler image. You can double click on the word, that'll reset everything back to 0. Okay, now when you're making any kind of change color wise, you want to use your parade scope so that way you can be able to see the adjustments. Now looking at this scope right here, you see how the red is here, your green is here, your blues are here. You can also look at where these are from the highs, the mids, and the lows. You see the lows and the greens is way up here. The lows and the reds are down here, pretty much aligned with the blues. Now, this image, remember I told you it had a bluish and a greenish overtone? You can look at this and see just how high those blues are in the highlights. Same for the greens. And so that's the reason we are having the look that we're having. You can come in here, you say, okay, I want to pull my highlights down. I want to put some green out of my highlights. For now, just use up, down, left, right movements. Don't go in a circle and do all of that because that may kind of jack you up. But just as you begin to get practice, you can do it like that. I'm going to come away from the green some. I'm going to over to the right to pull some of that green down. You see how it's adding blue, but now I'm going to go up so that it pulls some of the blue out. And you'll see that that scope begin to move. Okay, or you can say I'm going to pull it down from here. You can watch how it moves, but they always impact one another. So right now I'm pulling my greens down. Now I want to pull some of the blues down, and then I want to pull some of the reds down. And you can see how making these different changes will impact your image. This is how you use the color wheels. Okay, now moving right along. The log wheel will do it more like a stark, hard line. You know, like when I said the other one, it does everything gradually. This one will allow, like if I've got an area of red that I'm just having a strong issue with, I want to get it out of there, this is where you would do that at, okay? Now, and that's pretty much it on the log wheel. You can kind of go in, we're going to do an entire lesson over using the log wheel and color grade, like when you need to use it, when you don't want to use it, okay? Here are this is our RGB mixer. You can look here and see kind of where everything is. I mean, you can come in here. Let's reduce this down. Okay, so you see that. All right. Now, same thing for that's the red output. This is the green output. This is the blue output. Now, right here is motion effects. Davinci Resolve's noise reduction, basically. So if you have an image, and this image right here was shot pretty well, but if you needed to, let's say you've got some grain, or you've got, you know, your image is not as clean as you would like, your ISO was up a little too high or something like that, you can use your noise reduction to come in here. This is just where it's at. You got your noise reduction. Let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna do that, and then let's turn this up some, and you'll be able to see how that skin begins to smoothen out because we're removing a lot of the grain and grit from the image. You don't want to do it too much because it'll make your images look plasticky, but you can, you know, do some facial corrections and stuff just with your noise reduction. All right, now this is your this right here is your hue, saturation, illumination curve, or you can be able to use it for your exposure. So we'll come over here. Let's change this to waveform. You can see here. Let me take editable splines out. This is your curve. It's a curve. All right. You can come here. As you see, I can come in and bring that down. Let's say I've got, you know, this, and I want to add more highlights to it. I can bring it up. I don't want to make it go past that line or hit that line. Then the same thing with our lows. Come here, I can begin to bring that down some. I can also come in here if I need to, you know, kind of the different levels of the image. If I want to expand some of the shadow regions, or if I want to come up and bump up some of my midtones, that's what it is right there. All right, so that is your curve. This right here, color slice. This is an advanced tool. I'm not going to touch it. This, your color warper, another advanced tool. We're not going to touch it, but you know where it's at. You see it. If you ever see a video, they say, we go to your color warper, well, now you know where to go. This right here is this is a qualifier. Qualifiers are used to be able to go in, hone in on specific colors and be able to make some adjustments and changes. Like right here, if we want to be able to mess with our skin tones, we can come in. Now, in order to see the actual mask, because what you're creating is you're creating a mask, and whatever you create with inside your mask, that's where those changes would take effect. So I'm going to click on this node, Option S, so I can add another node, so that way I can have a little bit more separation with what it is that I'm working with, because we just made a lot of changes on this one singular node. Now me, I usually have a practice of all my changes are going on individual nodes. Like my saturation is going to be on a node, my contrast is going to be on a node, my exposure settings are going to be on a node, a LUT is going to be on a node, because you can turn these nodes on and off whenever you want. Like right here, we can click on that first node. If I hit here, it's going to turn off everything we did. All right, so that's one of the reasons why you want to do that, because you might just want to test some things out sometimes. So in this node, I'm going to come in. Let's do a qualifier real quick. I'm going to qualify her skin. Okay, so I just qualified her skin. I just used the eyedropper to find out where we are in her skin. We can't really see anything, but when I turn this highlight on, now it shows us. All right, I can come anywhere and click on anything I want as a highlighter. All right, so you see here, I'm highlighting all the yellow. You can see here in the hue, what I want to do, this shows me what hue we just selected. I can expand the amount of yellow all the way until it begins to dip into other colors just by opening this up some. Let's open that up some so it'll include even more. But sometimes it helps. You see that? You see that, right? there. You see how much of that yellow I got? Now, as far as the saturation, if I want to pull out the most saturated of that yellow, I can do that as well. But you only want to do enough of what you actually want. Now watch this right here. The luminous is the highlights and lows of that color you're choosing. So that's what I want to do. But now watch this. So I've just selected that and we're on that node. I'm going to come over here. We're about to change the color of those tights. You see that? So everything yellow that I've actually selected, I've just changed the color. I just changed it to pink. Okay. Now, here's another thing that we're getting ready to do. So I'm glad that the power windows are next. What I want to do is I only want to change the color of those tights. So let's go to this power window. Now I'm going to select the pen tool, come around here, because I don't want all of the other things to be changed to yellow. I just want the tights to be changed to yellow. I'm just going to keep going all the way around here. Bam. So what I just did was I'm going to select only the tights. So now if you notice, everything else that was yellow that we changed to the pink color is gone, because that's the only thing that's included inside our window. Now I can click on this highlight to turn the highlight back off, and now she's got pink tights. We can continue to change that. Let me click back on my color wheel, go back over here to my hue. Let's go all the way over. Now they're blue, purple, green. We can do, this is what we can do. Now if she was moving, then we could come right here. I'm gonna turn 3D off and rotate off, and I could actually track the movements to make sure that wherever her legs move, whatever is contained inside of that power window would automatically change with it. Perfect. Look, get you some footage. Find you some footage. I've got some footage. Hit me up if you need some footage that you just want to work with. I got you. Now, that's the power windows. Let's add a node. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to add a layer. That's option L. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do a circular one. Let's put a circular power window on her face. Now what I want to do is I just want to add a little bit of exposure to her face, okay? But I only want to do it, we'll say like on this top side here. I'm going to pull this out. This right here is more of that border to make sure it's good and soft. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. All right. Now, right here, I'm going to come on over here. I'm going to add a little exposure in the highlights. Bam. A little bit in the midtones. All right. Now I'm going to do an outside node. That's option O. And so now this will impact only what's outside of the node that I just finished doing. I'm just going to get on this curve right here, just kind of pull everything down. So everything is going to now begin to have a lower exposure except her face. So that way we can make her face stand out. You know what I'm saying? We want her to be the absolute focus. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this right here, I'm going to add another one. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to add another node out here. We did our effect. Let's go to that vignette. And then I'm going to drop that vignette on here. And again, this is all about just getting comfortable with doing different things within the software. Now, we've got our softness deal. We've got our corners there. Man, look at that. It draws you in. Look at that. It draws you in right to the face. Even though we made those changes on the legs with the color, everything else, it just draws you in right there to her face. And that's what you want. This is what you want. This is the power of the color palette. Now, we've still got a couple more. And then we're going to wrap it up because this is an intro to the color paste. I just want you to see some things you can do with the color paste. Now this right here, your magic mask. Okay, so if we wanted to come in and we wanted to track her, we could come right here, just put a highlight on, and you see there's going to be an overlay of her. Then we want to add a little bit more. I'm going to say add. It didn't pick up that other leg, so now we just picked up another leg, okay? So now if I just want to make some specific changes to her, I could begin to make those changes to her. And then if I want to track her movement but still keep her selected, so that way the changes we make would go all the way with her no matter where she moved, you just hit this tracker button right here. I'm not going to do that because it's a long clip and I don't want to have to go through and make those micro adjustments, but I'm going to show you something else. You see how some of the mask is spilled on the back of that sofa? Hit this minus key, strike that, and it's going to remove it for you. You may have to kind of fine tune it some, but right now she is greatly selected. And that's on the faster selection, okay? So if we do a better selection, we click better, then you'll get an even better selection. You can come in here, you've got all these other items like your radius, your blur radius. So that's kind of transition from her image to wherever else is not selected will be. You got your clean white, you've got your denoise, all right? So look, we good. Here's our blur. You can come in and let's say we just want to kind of, let's do another power window. Let's add another node just to do it on something separate. Let's do a power window right here. Let's say she doesn't want to be seen on here, or she's a mystery guest. How about that? She's a mystery guest, even though I know who it is, but she's a mystery guest. We'll put another power window there. Then we'll come over here to our blur menu, and now watch this. On the radius, we're gonna raise that up some. Look at that, blurring her face out just like that. You don't know who she is now, and look, that's a mask. If we want to track that mask so that no matter where she is in the footage that she can't be seen, we click on this tracker button and we come over here and track. That's it. As a matter of fact, here, let's track that. I'm going to hit the front to back, back to front. This is what it looks like when it's tracking. So that way, no matter how this thing moves, no one would ever see her face, okay, throughout the entire video. And so we'll do another video that does some tracking, you know, for things like people's faces or objects or license plates. But this is the process. This right here is the process. It's not very difficult. So there we go. Now, right here, this is our key information. So every time you apply one of these effects, like for example, we just blurred her face out. Here's your output. This is your gain, okay? Let's say we say, man, that blur is too thick. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna knock it down in half and put 0.5 in there, and it'll begin to reduce it down. So you can use this to pull back the key output of any effect that you apply, all right? Now, this right here, what is this? This is, I never use this. I honestly never use this, okay? But sizing, it looks like the transform node, and yeah, we're not going to touch 3D in here, but this is this main most common panel in color page that you will use. All right, so I'm just taking you through basically every last one of these. On your scopes, all right, you've got different scopes. We'll click on this. All right, we've got the waveform. This is what you can use for exposure. All right, we've got the parade. This is what you can use for your color balancing. We've got the vector scope. The vector scope is one that we use to be able to, we'll say, test the trueness of either skin tones, your reds, your greens, your blues, your magenta, your yellows, and your cyans. So when you're using your vector scope, and this is not a scope tutorial, so we're not going to go into it, but I can highlight or put a power window around her face, and it will give me a readout of what her skin tones are. Okay, and there's a line right here. Let me go ahead and click on this for the vector scope. Okay, here's a skin tone, the skin tone line indicator. We'll do 2 time zoom. I don't want to colorize. Yeah, I will colorize. And so now you see this line right here. That line is the skin tone line indicator. So the amount of reds, blues, yellows, greens that are in her face should be along this line right here. How far you come up depends on what the saturation is. Like if you have a red over here that's supposed to be red, well, you need to be able to make the adjustments on it so that it begins to hit close to the middle. Anything beyond the center of these square boxes will mean that you're too something. So you can either, if you're going right through it, okay, then you're red, period. If you're over here, you're not quite as red, but you can make those micro adjustments. I've just shown you how you can add a window to make changes for anything that happens within that window. Okay, and that's what your power windows are. You can take a window, put it around whatever it is that you want to be around, and then make your adjustments. And your adjustments will live within the borders of, or the perimeters, the borders, the areas of those windows. As a matter of fact, let's go back real quick. I may have run through that too quick for you. You can also make the adjustments on your different scopes by clicking on the settings. Okay, and we'll do, again, I'll go through these in individual videos so you can have something you can look back on. Right now, we're just getting ready to kind of go through these so you can be able to see. All right. Let's come back over here to this. What are we gonna do again? Oh, the windows. And we'll go over the different power windows. So you've got this, your rectangle power window. So you can come in here and anything you do inside that power window is going to be in there. All right, let's do this. Inside that window, let's make it blue. Okay, you see how we just made it blue? Ooh, wait a minute. Blue. Let me change that. Let me change that and get us on a brand new node. We do a lot of other stuff on there. I want to make sure we can keep these things separate, okay? So we'll go option there. All right. So now we're on a brand new node, and you can label these nodes too. For me, I think the default is F2, but I'm on my MacBook, so I made my shortcut keyboard. I made my shortcut the tab key. I hit the tab on my keyboard, and I can give that node a label. Okay, but we're going to do a whole deal over nodes. This is all about you seeing the interface. So right now I'm going to show you these power windows. We got your power windows. Here's a rectangular power window. I'm going to come here and we'll make everything like a magenta. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to go back to my power, and it's going to be wherever that window is. If I move it over here, now there's magenta. If I come over here, there's magenta. Now, coming back to that power window, you've got your size. You can make the adjustments to your size. You can also make the adjustments to the softness, so that way it's just not such a hard edge. You go soft 1, soft 2, soft 3. This is for the rectangle, of course. So it's got all 4 sides. You can make it soft on all 4 sides or an individual side. But watch this. This right here. You see how that circle is in there? What that's showing you is that anything inside of this rectangle is going to take on whatever the changes and effects that you have. But if you click on that, it switches it to the outside. See how now the outside is white? The rule is if it's white, you can see it. If it's black, you can't. That's it works just like what it's called, a mask. All right. So there we have that. Now you can also add additional masks even to a single node. You can add another mask, or you can just do something different. So watch this. Here's a circle mask. Let's bring this circle mask over here. And now within that circle, let's make that some other color. And again, this is all just really to show you kind of what you can do. All right, just how we've just made that change, and it's only in there. That's where it's at. So, and I think for the most part, let me see here. Let me reset that so we can kind of see. So for the most part, guys, this is the color page. This is where a lot of the different things that you see happen in this page. There are a few other things that you can do. Let's see if we got something quick. Well, no, we don't have anything quick. So there's, with your magic mask, whenever you go in and you isolate your subject, you can, and we've already done it actually. Where do we do that at? Okay, yeah, we did that right here. So right here, we actually went in and we isolated our subject. So that way our subject was able to, to be isolated out. And then we tracked it all the way down. Well, if you add an alpha output, it'll blacken the background, so you can take that and use it as overlays. You can take it, you can multiply it, you can duplicate it, you can even throw text in between layers on it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But again, like I said, this was more of a video to be able to show you the actual color page, to get you familiar with it, to get you comfortable with it. And look, there's still more to go, but right now you're not trying to do, exposure matching and LUT matching and look matching. Here's your light box. This is also how you can be able to organize and group your different clips, so that way you can say, okay, you know what, these clips have a lower exposure, these clips have a higher exposure, these clips are all just perfect. You can begin to go in and group a lot of your different clips because you know how they were shot, and then you can make adjustments to one and have applying to all. And this is especially helpful whenever you are working on matching your exposure throughout a lot of clips. So guys, this is it right here, man. I have fun with this because I know how valuable this particular page can be when it comes to video editing, especially if you're a Davinci Resolve user. So guys, I had a great time with this one. I mean, this is a page that I spend a lot of time on when I'm editing. I mean, there's so much you can do. There's so many different things and looks and vibes and feels that you can create just in this one page. Throwing the footage in and exporting, yeah, that's what super rookies do, but we're at the beginner stage. We're ready to go. We're ready to start doing some other stuff. We're ready to start having some fun. We're ready to start being in control and taking control. We're also ready to lose the fear and intimidation of all the buttons and panels and graphs and scopes and all of that. So I'm going to put together a series of tutorials, and I mean like right now. You're not going to have to wait for a month to get these done. I'm going to start with each one of these different sections that I just showed you, and I'm going to do some quick, hard, and easy lessons for you. And let me know if you don't have footage for these tutorials. I can point you in the direction of some free footage, but I think I might also, just so that everything that I'm doing you can do, I'll create some links that will have a couple of pieces of footage that I've shot both in 8-bit and in 10-bit, because a lot of you won't have a 10-bit camera, a lot of you won't have a cinema camera or a higher end camera, but you still need to get your footage graded because you want to be able to go in and make some adjustments or corrections. So I'm going to make sure that you have access to what you need to be able to get you to that point where you're trying to get to. I mean, look, we've all been here. A lot of us have started here. Now, hopefully I'll be able to bring this to you in a way that you can understand, and in a way that I can be able to translate over to you, so that way we can make it as simple and as complete as possible. Like I said, we want to cut all the gray areas out. If you have any questions, please drop them below in the comments, man. I mean, no question is a stupid question. There's a lot of us who we thrive on being able to talk shop with this stuff. So, trust me, you won't be offensive and nobody will look at you any kind of way. We're building a community. I looked up and we were at 492. I'm like, man, we just, so anyway, I'm excited where this is going to go. I can't wait till we get ready to do some full projects together, because we're going to go all the way through. Okay. So look, hopefully this video has brought some added value to you and your content creation. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here with me. I appreciate it. If you're returning, hey, I told you it was coming. We getting ready to do some stuff. It's gonna be powerful. So look, you guys, again, check the links in the description. You can grab this Davinci Resolve software and you can begin to use it on your own. There's no cost to it. There's a cost for the studio version, but hey, look, if this is your first, if you're just now getting here, then that means you've got a good ways to go. So let's go ahead and start getting it in. I can't wait to see where we all go. Follow me on Instagram or something. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a message. And that's it. We're going to see you on the next one. Let's go edit something.